Welcome to this video, and today you'll get a tour of all the blueprints I made for Project Resonance, a project in MineColonies to restore the ancient city. I built this literally next to an ancient city, so I could instantly copy paste from there, and below is one as well where I took a lot of inspiration from. Actually, I must have visited like 18. Everywhere I checked if I missed any buildings, I checked the internet and everywhere if there were any buildings I possibly could have missed. And all of the buildings are stored in these command blocks. For example, guard tower corner section, guard tower straight section, and of course level 1 to 5 for each of them. Now before we reveal anything, let's take a look at the ancient city with all his buildings, all ending into the middle, the portal. Hide particles. There we go. We are here in an ancient city, heavily lit up now of course with night vision, and you'll see, for example, these beautiful tavern style buildings. But most importantly, you see the hallways. The hallways with stairs up and down and with wooden beams and so much more. And some with stairs in between and beautiful cross and corner sections. And for example, here you see the same rune as before, but then perfectly restored. Almost in pristine condition. So going through all these runes, I found the perfect blueprints for each and all of them. And using MineColonies, we now have a chance to restore them. Now this rune is not ideal because you see a lot of tavern style buildings, and what you want is a rune with almost solely unique buildings that will work the best. Here you see a little pillar, and here you see a building you see a lot, these two. That's a lot of runes. This is what I call an echo chamber, and I will explain soon why. And here we have, for example, a massive tower. And here we have buildings made of wool, and all of them will have a function. But most importantly, you have the tunnel entrance, and the tunnel entrance usually has 10 pillars. Some are completely gone, and some look a little bit more like guard towers. But there will always be 10 structures and a middle tunnel leading towards the portal. The portal is a massive walled castle with a double wall, and of course, the portal. And I've made a mod pack to play it, and I've also added a mod to actually activate the portal, but for now that's not the focus. The focus is rebuilding the city using MineColonies. Thanks to the night vision we can see very clearly. Every single building is surrounded by sea lanterns. They are of course not part of the build. Now I can instantly save each blueprint using this command system, level 1, 2, 3, and you can easily do that if I have a building. On my scan tool, I can just shift and middle mouse button, and I will paste the command and the coordinates into the command block. And then we use blue ones, conditional, always active, to trigger after the orange one triggers. And these are the normal blueprints. Then we also have a section for decorations. Mystical site is for some reason a decoration as well these days. It kind of is. And lastly, we have child schematics. For example, these are the barrack towers. Okay, so let's get started. Now the first building is one of the only multi-buildings in double sense. The first reason is because it uses multiple rune fragments all inside the tunnel. So it uses 3 towers of the tunnel, and then it also uses a hallway segment. And this is of course the town hall. And you can build this freely on a single position, or you can build it on an existing position. So this is completely up to you. In this case, there's a rune on this position. That's not ideal for the town hall to be built on. But that doesn't mean it won't fit perfectly. And this hallway part, which is also part of the build, will connect to the hallway. There's always a hallway on this position, and there's often a hallway on this position as well. So you can have 2 choices to make it. Will you build it here, on the first 3, close to the center, or will you build it on the outside? And as I upgrade it to, for example, level 4, you'll see the hallway is fixed and the town hall has multiple directional ways to build it. You can also expand the hallway here, which is a rune that is somewhat unknown what it could be, because it's always a very decrepit one. And it also goes on to this side, and you can also choose to manually link this pillar to it. Now, as you can see, there's currently a building here, so this is not the best spot for a town hall. We could go to the other side, and this one looks already much more promising, but there's also a different rune which you may override or not. You can also just simply build it in any open space you can find. If that's your preference, just do it like that. Even if it's directly on an existing hallway. That would all perfectly work. Now there's one building you always start with, and that is of course the supply camp. The supply camp has some decent materials, also some deep slate because it's harder to get because you need silk touch, some basic tools, and the town hall and builder. And after placing the supply camp and placing the town hall, the next building is the builder's hut. And level 1 is mostly the ruined version, but a little bit of polishing, a little bit of torches, and of course, for example, a rack or a crafting table, etc. Whatever it needs. And for this we go to another rune with a lot of water. I would not settle here myself, or just disable the water first. Now before we do anything, let's switch to the official newest version of the mod pack, and it's going to be looking like this. And also the buttons are much different. Normally in the darkness it looks a lot more visible, but now because of the video I have night vision on, of course. Let's go to fundamentals. Normally those you don't see, these are child, so I see them now because I'm in creative. If you're not, you don't see them at all. So you see the 4. Now the builder's hut fits here perfectly, but this is actually not the variant that you need, because these one have little pillars in the front. There are several variants, and you see here the back fits but the rest doesn't. That doesn't mean you can't build it there. It just means it wasn't perfect for that one. However, you might just find the perfect fit, this one. Now you see the floor is a bit better, and the rest is pretty much the same. The builder's hut itself block comes on top of the chests you'll find there, and it's a perfect fit, except for some of the cracked blocks will be replaced, so they'll mine that away. But other than that, if you build it exactly on this spot, it will work the best. And then the level 1 is very cheap if you build on the right show spot. If you don't, it's going to be much more expensive, of course. And then the level 2 adds the walls, level 3 adds more structure and more decoration, level 4 completes the roof, and level 5 actually completes the skulk. But I want to talk to you about level 5 a little bit later, because what happened to an ancient city? It got overrun by skulk, right? So that's the whole story. Now this story will slowly be revealed. For example, the level 5 builder's hut has an archive fragment. Recovered from builder's hut, lower quarters, condition, fragmented, soot stained and partial legibility. The authorship is unknown, but it's a mason of the 3rd cycle. Resonant index is 17. You'll often see intros like that. There is a resonant index, which pretty much means that the higher it is, the closer the scope will be. And you'll find a lot of lore, and you'll find also things people think. You'll find fragments in the university, what their experiments they're working on, and all these kind of things. In the schools you'll find like little rhymes and things children write about the skulk and how they perceive it, stuff like that. So people asked if I used AI, and yes I did, but only to create the blueprint books commands. I wrote the stories and I told him what I want to hear, and he just removed the typos and polished it a little bit. So that's all I did. But this will only appear on the level 5 builder's hut, so you don't have that fragment until you build that. The next essential is the tavern. Well, you've seen it already. It is as decrepit as you find it. And if you build this on a better version, you'll have the problem that he's going to dig away all the good parts as well. But that doesn't really matter, because everything really is about level 2. Level 1 is just a quick drop it and be done with it. Except for the town hall, that's going to be a bit harder. Now you see it directly on the level 1, you'll have an archive fragment already. And people will be celebrating because they just built their first tavern. They're just around the herd and they're having fun, and the laughter starts, and you know, stories like that. So it's really story driven. And the level 2 adds the 4 rooms, and you'll see there's more fragments in there. Now, I'm not gonna spoil all the fragments, of course, but now you have really rooms. While now in the level 1 you had like 2 beds per room and only 2 rooms. And of course the same room but a little bit different is being used by the restaurant. Now you can see instantly the restaurant, however, does have a pretty much intact building, even on level 1, as you could have seen. Also in the rune I showed you earlier, there was a very intact one, and there was also a very ruined one, which would in this case be the perfect fit, because one would be the restaurant and one would be the tavern. Now the restaurant has a lot of sittable chairs. If I grab the tech tool, you will also see it. let's go to the next level for that. And I'll select tags from this building. Now you'll see people can sit everywhere, and they will. They will sit everywhere. So these all sit tags on these. Sit tags are a bit deprecated, but it still works. So that's all fine. And now they use like sit out and sit in, but this is a different tag. That's going to be the ground level tag, which means this is going to be shown as the ground level. And if all of them match that one, that's going to be perfect. So level 3 comes with connections to the hallways. That means you really want to build it near hallways. And you can always just freely build a piece in between to get to a hallway, but you could just, when you build it, consider, hey, maybe on level 3 I want to connect to a hallway, and then people can safely go there without having to go over the normal ground. Now, as you can see, level 4 and 5 will be much bigger. Now, level 5 has the skulk integration. The university will drive this whole story, but what you should know is every place where people are, you will find these echo chambers, and you'll find these echo chambers everywhere in the city itself as well. These echo chambers, they capture the resonance of people, the noise they make. They capture it and they turn it into skulk. So skulk grows when there's sound. At level 5, you harness this power to capture the skulk and generate your own skulk on this method. And of course, it's either a hit or miss, but this could be very well your downfall. And this all revolves around one building and one building only, and that's the university. So the first level of university is really simple, but you'll see they have some experiments already running. And if you read one of the lecterns, okay, we're talking about what is this doing? What is this skulk doing? And you see they also have a little basin where they play around with skulk a little bit. So you're already gonna need to find a way to get that skulk. Okay, you're gonna need a hoe with silk touch, so good luck with the university. That's gonna be a little bit of a stepping stone. What's gonna be more interesting is the university is your progression block. I know people hate progression blocks, but this is your progression. So this one, university level 1, you're gonna need silk touch on a hoe. You're gonna need silk touch on a hoe anyway, because you're gonna need all these skulk blocks and all these shriekers and everything you find. If you do it with a hoe with silk touch, you just get the blocks. Also the sensors here and all the other blocks as well. So you want to have a silk touch on a hoe. And also, if I would jump forward, for example, to a building with grass, like this one, you want to get the grass blocks. Don't really need them early, but it really helps. A hoe before a pickaxe, definitely on silk touch. And the next progression block comes with university level 2. So you may very well start working on it early. It's not a rare material, but it's actually copper. There's 2 coppers, but they are both oxidized and they're not waxed. So you have to make 5 blocks, turn 1 into the cut copper and just let them oxidize, or do a whole stack and just throw them around everywhere so they oxidize real fast. And then your progression block for the next level is still cut copper. They don't decay here in my server, but they're not waxed, so they're just fresh. But they will, of course, oxidize over time. But that's much easier to make, of course. So it's not really a block, but you're gonna need a lot of redstone and a lot of node blocks. That's gonna be, maybe, I don't know if it's a progression block, but again, you need skulk, so you have to have the silk touch as well. So they are making now larger experiments. They're trying to get to understand the skulk. How does it react? What does it do when I do what? When I make noise. And they're gonna make more and more noise. And people are gonna get mad about the noise. For example, if I check one of the rooms in the level 2 tavern, they already filing complaints. What is this happening? Why is there 7 hours low frequency pulses coming, you know? And people are getting already sick of this. You'll read that fragment, of course, way before you're on university level 3, unless you don't upgrade this tavern. So, but it's fragments uncovered, so they can be a little bit offset in time. This fragment is the core. It tells pretty much the whole story. It comes at level 4 or 3, one of them. Now, why this building looks so different from the rest is simple. They made a huge, like, megaphone to capture the vibrations. Now this room makes a noise. I'll do it a bit louder so you can hear it. This room is annoying. And now you understand they are experimenting alright. They are going hard. They're working with copper. Obviously it goes wrong. it starts to collapse. The tower needs to be heavily reinforced, else it just blows up. So the level 5 is way different than most of the buildings, but it has heavy iron reinforcements and a little bit of emerald, and lapis of course, just to capture and keep the sounds contained and to keep the poor station standing as well. And as you can see, where they started with one drain, where they drained the skulk into the ground for absolutely no reason, they now have 2 drains here, all draining the skulk down, and now the whole place is completely reinforced. So it's all about the university. The university has tons of lecterns with stories. So that is one of the most important buildings to build, and most of the interesting buildings to build as well. Well, that covers all the fundamentals. So what is so special about the town hall? Because what you saw, you have 3 child fragments under fundamentals. They're all part of the town hall. So the level 1 town hall already comes with a guard tower, which is unique from the rest of the guard towers. That is also because the town hall is so useless and people wait a long time before building it because it's incredibly expensive and no soul lives there. Now there's a guard on level 1, and even worse, maybe worse, people don't like that much, but there's the library and the school on level 2 as well. They are inside there. This means this whole place will be full of life. There's not much multi-buildings otherwise in the game, except for the barracks, the guard towers of course. But this is just for the town hall. So the library is there and the school is there. So this place is always vibrant and is really the heart of the city. If you don't like that, maybe I will make a separate school and library eventually. But for now, this is the place. Because the university isn't... I've seen other packs, like the Incan pack, they have the library and the school in the university. That is not our university. Our university try to understand what is with the skulk, and they make noise, and you couldn't possibly have the school there. So the school is in the town hall. Now the town hall becomes more and more beautiful, of course. Like this, they have a basic desk on level 3. And level 4 starts really decorating the place, and a very luxurious desk as well. Very beautiful place. And you'll have some fragments as well. You have a little study here, which is, well, where people hold the meetings. And you have, of course, the library and the school fragments. So let's quickly go to the fragments so you understand what they are. So the school, now this is the library. The library, you see, it starts pretty gentle, a lot of places to sit and a lot of books. That's basically the library. It needs bookcases. It has also some fragments as well, so you have absolutely lore as well in here. And you'll have some experiments running as well in there eventually. The school has a beautiful blackboard, by the way. So you're going to need concrete for level 3. That's a bit of a block as well. And eventually there's a skulk panel. And then they use the skulk because skulk gives... You have to read the books. They think it has regenerative powers and you want to infuse it everywhere because people will heal. And maybe I can show you right away what I mean with that by going to our first hallway building. This hallway building can be built on, well, you already shown the hallway with the stairs up. It is the hospital. It's just this building, this hallway building. It has 1 bed on level 1. And then we go straight to level 2. And we actually surrounded the little stairs. And we have, of course, 2 beds here. We keep this place. We have a little sitting area, yes, but we keep this place so people can at least always move through it. And this is one of the more crowded ones. The level 3 hospital adds 1 bed to the top and doors. You can always also still move through the top part, of course, of the hallway. And the level 4, really beautiful, with a lot of blue wool, because that's used as well in the end, and looks much more sterile. And I don't know what happened here, but we're gonna fix that right away. We'll grab the scan tool, just do this, we have the anchor, it selects it, and we save the hospital for. Let's do that again. Something collapsed from above, I think. Now the level 5 is 1 skulk infused building, because they are convinced that skulk, because skulk heals itself so fast and regenerates so fast, it can also regenerate sick people a lot faster if they just infuse it plenty. They couldn't be more wrong, of course, but that is where we're going. And you also have some plants, etc. So the building is not expensive per se, as in diamond blocks, etc., but a lot of domum ornamentum blocks, which will give you this beautiful green look, which really fuses well in the city. So that's the hospital. But just to explain how people think about skulk on level 5. Now, obviously, for the previous city, and that's the lore you read about the previous city, not about the current city, that was a level 6. And level 6 was complete and utter annihilation. And you also see it for the level 5 town hall. Again, there's going to be children here and people studying. So there's 2 echo chambers and a sensor. There are pipe systems. And this pipe system leads to them rolling out skulk. So basically the generating skull rolls to be used in building. And as you can see, there's plenty of skulk in most of the areas. And it looks pretty awesome. Skulk looks pretty awesome because it gives us this sci-fi look a little bit. But that is basically the town hall level 5, where people already, they control it, yes, but oh, this could go wrong. Now, most packs have a little bit different in where they put things, but I have facilities. Basically, everything that generates something is a facility. And the first one is education, is of course the university, we just already covered that. And then we have excavation. It's going to be the mine and the Nether Mine. Now the mine is located at the best possible place you can imagine. And that's at the end of the tunnel. And why is this the best place? Let's travel to another ancient city. One we haven't finished yet. Look at how the tunnel goes. Look at this. It ends here, boom. Always at the border of the town, of the city. Now the idea, because you're already on minus 38 right now, it's not going to tunnel deep. It's just going to start making tunnels to the side as soon as it can. I wouldn't really consider building the mine if it wasn't for you need the mine so badly, so very early to unlock much more items. So the university asks you to make the mine really early. Now the mine is located pretty much like this. Can I go one more forward? You could just match with any hallway you like. Do I need to go one up? Is that it? Oh, I needed to go one up. So for example, you could do it like that. Then it's in the wall already. And you can also say, now, well, I want to build it on this tunnel fragment. And then it's just outside the wall. And then, of course, it starts tunneling down. I tested that, of course, it works already. Now, the mine itself is beautiful. Level 3 adds a gorgeous pulley system into the mine. It's a glorious building, and because it's located on the end of the tunnel, it just extends the tunnel a lot, and it also starts digging inside that region. And maybe you'll have a tunnel coming out of this place, but it should be below it. But this is already a semi-problem. Of course, it will never pass anywhere where a building is that's coded, so you don't have to worry about that. But then you have a chance that you just have a mine entrance here suddenly, which is kind of cool actually. Pick your city also based on that. If you have a nice big formation there of rock, then let's build the mine there. So that's the mine. I showed the library and the school. I didn't show you really the guard tower. So the guard tower for the town hall is the same as the other guard towers, and we just go for the guard towers now. Now the guard towers are of course located on the military. And the guard towers are very unique. Why? Because there's 4 types. There's guard tower C, S, T, and X. And you will see those symbols coming back every time. Now these are the domes, and it's going to be the same as a normal guard tower. So let's go to the guard towers. There's just 20 different guard towers. There are 4 level 1s. This is a guard tower X because it goes to 4 directions. You place this in the middle of a hallway cross section. This is a guard tower T, a T split. And it goes to 3 directions. So this direction is empty. This is an S, a straight guard tower. It just goes to a straight direction. And then lastly, of course, you have the C, the corner. And that one actually goes in a corner. Now, the first one is just flat. Just as the original is, as usual. The second one has a wooden dome. And if you have the building variant that has a wooden dome, because there's also a ruined variant of this with the dome, then it's going to remove the dome if you build a level 1. So you have to be careful. Do you want that? Well, maybe yes, but then you just instantly upgrade it to level 2. The level 3 adds some more decoration and of course a stone dome. And there's soul lanterns already. Soul lanterns not too hard to get. You can either scavenge another ruined city if you want. An ancient city, there's going to be plenty of them there. Or just get to the nether already. Level 4 is heavily reinforced guard tower with a lot of dome panels, and the level 5 is with the skulk meant to regenerate, and the bottom is pretty much equal to the 4, so it's just basically the top is being like, if you bombard it will probably regenerate itself. And that's for each of the sections. The corner, the straight, the T-split, and the cross section. Now they'll have beds, and I tested it, and normally the rule was that only the guardhouse in the barracks would have sleeping spots, but if you place a bed in here, they'll sleep here, and they don't use a bed in the tavern, for example. If you hear an explosions, it's New Year's, there's fireworks everywhere. That is the guard tower. Let's go back to our facilities. The next mine is the Nether Mine, and it's pretty hard to get that. You're going to need university level 2, I think, or 3 to have it really functional. Now, just as the town hall, the Nether Mine uses 2 of the pillars. 2 of the pillars in the center, and it squeezes the nether portal in between. Now, what is the Nether Mine? Nether Mine is one of the best buildings in the pack. The Nether Mine generates nether items. The person basically goes on expedition to the nether. He doesn't physically go there. He just needs food. He goes on expedition. He comes back with items. Best building. Generates for free. Love it. So you'll see it has a little room here and a little room here for storage. And very simple. Level 2 adds a little bit of a platform forward and adds some more storage. And of course, usually some more decorated blocks. Level 3 really adds a roof to the whole thing. So you have a beautiful roof and some redstone and some decorations. And level 4 adds some gold, because you go to the nether, you're going to have a lot of gold. And has some more decorated blocks and also some glowstone integration. And of course the level 5 has actually 2 very important things. It has blackstone decorations, which is quite unique. But it just means it's a portal to the nether, which gives it much more of the nether look. And I didn't really like the nether itself, like the netherrack doesn't really fit with the green. So blackstone, and of course our well-known skulk. If you are smart, you just take 5 stacks of skulk, you take polished deep slate and you slap a frame on it, and you'll just make, like, then you have 20 stacks of this. It's always going to be, pretty much always going to be the same panels. It's either the straight version or the framed version. So just make a bunch of it and you're good for life. It's not like, oh, I have to make so much decorated blocks. No, you don't. Same for the glowstone blocks. You'll find those in the larger buildings being represented more and more. So that's the Nether Mine. Very important building. Very important. It's one of the best buildings as far as I know. And then we go to Mineshafts, and we do have the Quarry. Simple and a larger quarry, but you have to remember again, you're not gonna go deep. You're not gonna go deep. So this is the small quarry, this is the top, and this is the quarry. The great thing about the MineColonies is it handles bedrock really well. So you will not go as deep as you hope, but as soon as it hits bedrock, it will just stop generating deeper. So it just stops like here, and you have bedrock like here. The great thing about that is you have the bigger, of course, you have the bigger areas. So the top one is where they get the most stone from, and then slowly lower. And here they only get like a few stacks from. So it's not really important if that is bedrocked. Now, the medium quarry is a whole different story. It's also huge, by the way. And you see it also goes up a lot because it can be this high. Now, it's up to you where you place it. Well, it completely depends on, of course, the other building. But this is huge as well. This is the bottom. It's in the pack. It's all in the pack. It's beautiful, deep slate. And it's going to dig itself out, so you don't have to build this. It's slowly being built layer by layer. But it's not going to go as deep as you hope. Unless, of course, you decide to go up first and then build it. Yeah, the max building is like 65. So if you go up to the 0 level, for example, and you would build it there, for some reason, it would just tunnel its way down through your city, by the way. There's no room for the quarry, but I wanted to add each building, so I have added the quarry, of course, and a beautiful crane on top as well. So this is the quarry. It's there. It has no room, so you always build it on the side of your city. Then we go to residential. Now, residential is going to be the most important of all. These are, of course, your houses. And most residentials will be hallway sections, which is great because then your entire hallway is your houses. And it goes through everything. So you have perfect access to each building, and they just use the hallways to travel and then quickly go to the building where they work. So the first one is very simple. There's a ladder to the side, and maybe you haven't seen it yet, but each hallway is always 9 by 9. except for some gates, they are 18 by 9. So every segment is 9 by 9, and it really works. You always know exactly how to squeeze them out. And I could give you an example what I usually do. Like this is of course the guard tower, and it starts always a little bit out. So this is going to be 3, and another 3, and another 3, and this is the other part. What I usually do is I place blocks like this, and then I know, okay, I have to make a house here and a house here. And as you can see, we recognize this one from the hospital. Oh, sorry, the hospital is under Apiary. I lost it myself as well. And you build, for example, the hospital here. I'm supposed to flip it, but I'll just paste it for now real fast. And then you grab the residential area, and that one goes here. I'll just do schematic paste now. And then you have a guard tower cross section to align it perfectly. It's very satisfying if it's aligned perfectly. And then you just build that here. All the skull gone, beautiful. It just goes through here. It keeps the roads intact. And now you have this beautiful ladder down as well. Which was supposed to go to the other way, but you know, you get the drift. And they can get up here as well. I semi-considering I didn't really need the ladder. Because the idea is that another building will be the ladder for you. Either the hospital or the guard tower, but I can't have an inaccessible place. That's just impossible. So I always have to make an accessible place. So for now it's just a ladder. And of course you want to see the higher levels. So level 2 adds another house. Level 3 adds another story with another house. Level 4 adds a 4th house, of course. And level 5 adds a massive 2 civilian room as well. As you can see, it's beautifully decorated. There's going to be some archive fragments as well, which is maybe a bit awkward because every level 5 will have it, but it's fine. And as you can see, the wood is pretty much gone and it's made much more beautiful. So make sure the ladders are inwards, because what you should never forget, and you see it here as well in the hospital, one side is always the wall. You always have to remember this needs to be too high, or if you have a little road, it should be 1.5 block high, so nothing can get up, because it's still essentially the hall. That's why it's called, well, it's called a hallway, but it should be a wallway, basically. But that's the level 5 residential. Maybe the back is indeed more beautiful. Everybody wants a unique flower, so make sure you get them. Now, if you're a bit different than other people and you're like, I don't want a house on a hallway, I just want to fix the hallways, you could. Now you see this building? It is... I don't know if I can find the rune right now. I think it can even fit on this one. Let's build the house. I'll just not use the rune for a bit because I can't find it this fast. Here's you have a house, a normal house. This one is not a hallway house. Level 2 already adds 2 rooms and a bit of a nice wall. So level 2 is much more beautiful. Level 3 adds a second story with just 1 house and a stairs. Level 4 adds the next room. And level 5 adds also separate room, because if you want 5 separate rooms, I kind of challenged myself. I was like, okay, this has to be possible. This has to be possible. So yes, it was possible. I have now 5 separate rooms. So this one does have 5 separate rooms. And the 3rd room is a bit smaller, but has 2 floors. So that's kind of nice. It has a dual apartment. And the rest are a bit larger, but single rooms. So that is another house. It's a level 5 normal house. They're a bit blocky, but everything is a little bit blocky. You have a little bit fence system as well here in the staircase. But if you want houses like this, sure, they exist as well, specifically for your pleasure. And last is, of course, the warehouse and the Courier's hut. It's kind of nice to see the blueprints like this before we find the right spot. So, what we want is this building with the water. The warehouse is going to be not your largest, but it's going to be one of the largest buildings. and it uses this template. The reason is it looks like a relaxation swimming pool area, sure, but it also has a lot of small rooms, which means ideal for couriers. Now the level 1 is already going to be expensive, I'm not gonna lie. As you can see, it kept the ruined variant pretty much. It fits pretty much. You see some of the skulk is replaced with bricks, but that's all. It's pretty ruined still. And it is centered around this area, so it does have fences to fence this area off here as well, and it's gonna place the 2 couriers huts here. The level 2 adds 2 more couriers huts, so you have 2 blocks now, and it fixes the entire walls, but not completely erase it. Whenever it has a real decrepit and broken area, it just uses fences to fix it. But you'll see definitely the gates already appearing here as well, and it looks already beautiful. Now it has some lanterns as well, and of course this is the main area, and it has a lot of storage here as well. There's a crafting table now since the last version, because it's really easy to craft here now. It's always handy to have one here around. And it has a second storage, so this was the level 1 and this is level 2 added, so it has a lot of storage space. It has some relaxation chairs as well when they have nothing to do. And this one isn't used yet. Let's go to level 3. Level 3 now adds hot tubs. There are 2 more courier hits now added here. And walls are much higher now. Still, you see fences, but most walls are now higher and secure. This area has a roof, except the swimming pool is of course still open. And this section is added as racks. It's large, but it will house like 10 people eventually, so makes sense, right? Then we have the level 4, a decorated jump. You see the little lights. The 2 new courier huts are actually behind this area. As you can see, behind the hot tub area. And you have more seat areas here. And it looks much more decorated. You see the towers are now finished with beautiful glowstone. But other than that, it still looks decently like the level 3. There's some decorations added, and instead of a new section, there's now a layer added to the existing sections of racks. And you see more dome and monumentum. Then lastly, the 5, we add minor skulk decorations. Let's paste it. A lot more storage. Lot more storage. And the courier huts, one is here, and one is in this corner. So it's kind of fun, right? Much more of the walls are fixed as well. So this looks absolutely stunning. And there's a skulk storage on top, because now they need skulk, so they're going to store it as well. So this is one of the largest buildings and one of the hardest to make, but upgrading is remarkably cheap for almost everything, because you don't need much diamond and crazy stuff. You need always a bit the same skulk and the same lights and etc. So it's not really crazy. It's not crazy, and it's all blocks you can easily mine. If you have ulti-mine, you want to cheat a bit, you know, you can vein mine deep slate, then everything is easy. And only the level 1 takes time, because you often have to dig things out, remove cracked bricks, etc, etc. So always make sure you place it on top of the correct building. So that's the warehouse, and of course we had courier's huts as well. There's 2. This one is invisible, obviously, and they become pretty nice. Maybe too nice. Anyway, level 4. Decent. It be the little sections inside the house. It looks really cool. And that's their little building. Now there's also another courier. If you don't want the couriers in the warehouse, or you want couriers on a different spot, you may have remembered this tunnel. There is a tunnel variant for the courier. So you can put them in the tunnel segments. So you can add like 4 or 5 and they instantly fix the tunnel as well. It makes the tunnel a bit more beautiful as well, if you want to do that. So that's all up to you. If you want to do that, sure, go right ahead. And that concludes the whole facilities section. And then we go to decorations. Now I know there's still a bug in pillars, but it's not really a bug. So pillars have two variants actually. You have of course the large pillar, we all know. You'll see plenty of them there. And you also have the small pillar, and you often see those here. So just today I decided to also build the tower variant of the pillar, and that's the one you see in some of the cases, and this also comes with a raised platform. Now I didn't have any blueprints for that, so I made them all today. Well, not the normal platforms, I already had the platforms, but I just added the rest. Now you know that this is a whole platform, it's kind of large. It's definitely optional to make this one, but this is of course the same platform as you find here. It's a basalt variant, and to be a nice guy I actually hollowed this out, so this is not a massive block of a 3 high, that would be madness. Instead you just have a hollow block that, and if you mine it out yourself you'll just have a lot of deep slate tiles which you can actually use a lot. And lastly I built the bridge as well that I saw. So it's just a very simple bridge. There's also a version that is just a few dark oak planks. I'm not going to touch that, that's just too simple. But this is a very basic bridge that I saw, so I've added that as well. And then lastly, I filled in all the empty areas of the existing platforms that I already had, and I filled them with placeholder blocks so you don't destroy what is in there if you get them placed. So if you already had a pond there or whatever, it's not going to be destroyed. Now for the tunnel, there's not going to be a version that is like that with the offset, because I am not sure where the offset will be. But you can also always fix all the fragments using the pieces we have, so it's absolutely no problem. And this is the ramp towards the center. On top of that, I've added many more smaller road pieces. So we have little half roads here, which you can use to either overlap or make smaller or bigger roads to ensure that you can fit everything together. And we also have some curbs, which are literally solely used to be on the side of the road. And if there was a road with just 4 wide, you can just basically do only this curb, or maybe combined with a half slab. So this way you always have pretty much control over all the roads. And if it's really a road that's only 1 or 2, well, you can pretty much do that manually, or just with the curbs. Then I've added 3 ponds. And one of the ponds is a bit of a funny experiment, but it's more advanced. And the ponds are ideal because you can fit them perfectly. And I did it in another build on tunnel side. And it looks actually really cool. So basically all I did was fill this with water. And that gives a very cool effect. Also on the minimap you just see this beautiful blue squares. And it also just gives the whole area, the whole tunnel area, much more complete feeling. Since we're here, this is a gate decoration. This is the gate 2 decoration, and this is the gate 3 decoration, and these are 9 by 18. And this is just a normal hallway decoration, sorry. These are separate decorations, one with the ladder up. I should have used this one earlier when we built the hospital. Now this one is interesting. We have normal wall sections. So we have again the T, the X, the C and the S. And they are the last section's walls. So the C2, the C1, C1, this is going to be the C1. It's the most flat version. Then we have the C2 and the C3. Now, they look the same, but they're not. The difference is the battlement offset. So this one ends without the battlement and this one ends with. And that's really important, else you have difficulty matching it. And that counts for all of them. So this is just a flat wall, by the way. You probably won't use it much, but you see them sometimes at ends. The 4 starts with the double hallways. And again, the 4 and the 5. 5 is even, the 4 is uneven. And for each of the sections is a variant. So you probably use those the most. But on the other hand, you probably don't, because you're going to build residential areas, etc., etc. there. So this is the halls. It's a decent amount already. But I'm still working on making more. There's going to be much more of everything. But this is a bit decorations. Here you see the pillars too. What do we have here? This is the flower shop, and it uses a double 9 by 18 with the large beam. So you know this one because you often see it. It uses potsol, so you have to find a taiga. And the flower shop also uses many variants of flowers, but these are just all found in meadows, so it's not really hard to find these. Here we come ferns, again taiga. And I'll see some of the tulips as well, which might be tricky. And you're going to need shears, of course, for the vines and the dark oak. Not really hard to get those at all. And this will become one of the most colorful decorative pieces. This is the level 4, by the way. Level 5 is a bit over the top, even use diamond, but you'll have all types of flowers and even have some chorus flower. So it's not going to be easy to make this one, but it's going to be fun to make this one. And I think this was not part of the build, but it just grew automatically when I forgot to put the time on stop. Well, good luck with it. It kind of looks nice, so I keep it. So that's the flower shop. What do we have here? This is one of the most important buildings you need to build. This is the stone cutter, because you have so much stone and you just want to throw in all the raw deep slate or the cobbled deep slate ready and just have him do it, including those pesky panels all the time. Like, it's so easy. On level 2 stone cutter you can already register Domain Ornamentum and you'll just give him polished deep slate and he can make all the panels. All the panels. He just needs one recipe with deep slate, polished deep slate. That's the only thing he needs. Polished deep slate. This is chiseled deep slate, of course. You're gonna need it chiseled as well. Whatever is made from polished deep slate. And then you also make a variant, for example, the one that uses. Now that's also going to be the skulk variant, so you just give him polished as frame and skulk as filler, and he can make all these blocks automatically whenever a builder needs it. You don't even have to click any of it. And this is then with the wool, which may be a bit more tricky because you probably need a recipe per color of wool, but you could just make those yourself. They're not used much. This is also the skulk. So you just all throw them in your stone cutter and you never look back at whatever you need to make with Domain. So this is going to be your core building. Now, you see his neighbor as well uses the small building you'll find everywhere with the little echo chamber. The echo chamber sometimes come back, but in this case he just removed it. He didn't need it. Level 2 raises the walls a bit. Still very simple, very open. Level 3 adds the roof. And it's open on this side all the way. And you see, he starts making a bit more framed blocks just for fun. Framed cobble, deep slate, don't even know if I ever need it, but you also see a bit of storage of raw stone as well here. Now in level 4, he's one of the first buildings that have access to skulk. There's not much buildings level 4 that use skulk, but he is already on the request of the university experimenting a little bit, also with glass. And you see the lapis version, so he's just making stockpiles of things that may be needed sooner or later. There I also saw a little story. Now level 5 adds storage to the top with blackstone and endstone, and also has a lot of stones he's working with, so you need quite an amount of stone. I think the blackstone you already need pretty early on level 4, so for residential, etc. But they're not that hard to get. Just go to the end ones. You'll be fine. This is a level 5. So he himself has minimal skulk decorations, just the standard frames. That is one of the important ones. And of course, this one is also very important because the only trees you use is dark oak. And you kind of want to build this one like very early, like the 4th building maybe. And he starts chopping trees. Now I used to have the trees included, but it's just a mess. So you just have to plant trees yourself somewhere in a corner and place this building near it. Has about the same upgrade cycle as the stone cutter, but more basic storage. So it's much easier to build. It's just dark oak basically. It doesn't do much else. And level 5 is the only one where he's trying to mess with skulk a little bit to see what happens, and you'll have some skulk decorations. Very easy to upgrade to level 5. Very cheap to build. Nothing special. Forester. And then we have here a beautiful apiary. Again with the same frame building. You'll have like 6 of these in your city probably. So there's a lot of buildings that start with that. And it still uses the echo chamber. It keeps that because bees make a lot of zzz and it's a lot of noise. So it's perfect. Every level adds a mandatory beehive. And some flowers of course. Level 3 has 4 beehives. Just some basic flowers. Quite a few flower pots. Much more flowers on level 4. Also a lot of lights and grass blocks, be aware of that. And again, the silk touch hoe will just be fine. Or spread it naturally, of course, if you have one. And the level 5 is the echo chamber working properly. And also some sculk frames. And I see some mycelium. See some pots. And I also see some quarters flower again. So definitely need to go for the end for the flowers. Has a storage on top as well on level 5. With beautiful honey. So that's one. Now, you probably already saw it, but the farm. This one is the decrepit version. You saw this one as well with the pillars in front. There's a lot of buildings like this. This one has a farm on top. Level 2 still has a farm on top. And some more storage. Little sit place. And a dripping thing. The water is in here. Then the level 3 has, for example, a decorated roof. There's a double layer. It's going to be a lot of panels and slabs, I think. Panels are here. Has redstone lights as well. And the level 4 adds a second layer of farm on top of it. And has a lot of decoration. Better floor, etc, etc. Level 5, again, the sculk decoration. Now, if you don't want this, that's fine. You don't have to, of course. So I present to you the normal farm, the simple farm. Which has a roof on level 2. And has a storage on top on level 3. And the storage is just a lot of random blocks, you know, you will see in a farm. So then it's just a storage. So that's the farm level 5. And then we have 2 fields to choose from. We have the small field and we have the large field. I'm thinking about making even smaller fields. But basically you make fields like this. Or you just slap a scarecrow somewhere. That you also can do that. And will go automatically. You can use the frames or just do it manually. Now for the mine, by the way, there are several fragments. This one is the entrance that comes below here. Below the ladder. And how Mineshafts look pretty much like this. So you're going to need framed dark oak also to give to your stonecutter. Because he's going to need a lot. He's going to request every time he makes a few new fragments. And you also see dark oak log and dark oak planks. So you're going to need to register those as well. Or make a lot of them yourself. Then we have... oh yeah, very important building. The Blacksmith. Also echo chamber. Comes out, makes a lot of noise. But it uses more space than the average one. So be very much aware of that. It uses a lot more space. Level 3 adds already a lot of blast furnaces, water cauldrons and other smithing tools. And a double echo chamber now. And level 4 adds a massive fire and a lot of storage on the sides as well. And more decoration. And level 5 is of course the Sculk Master version. Which has a lot of sculk panels, by the way. Panes, not even panels. And level 4 also comes with a beautiful chimney. So there's going to be a lot of smoke. So that's the Blacksmith. We just made a huge jump. Don't mention this. I was trying to figure out how the mine worked. So now one of the towers. So if you have multiple towers, no problem. You have the university, but you also have this. If you have a very ruined tower, you best make this one. This is the Alchemist tower. And this means I just leave whatever is up there, I leave it. So if it's all ruined up there, it will stay ruined and it'll just build this one on level 1. Just this part. Now you see, it's semi-built like a tree. A dark oak tree. Level 2 adds a little bit of a roof. And extends the trees up. And adds a lot of more of the things he needs to make potions. So it's almost like a druid cove. Level 3 adds nether. And I think each level gives you a brewing stand. But most importantly it adds the dome, of course, that we know so well. With a lot of azaleas, so you have to find those. And also a lot of nether plants. So you definitely have a progression here. Now level... a bit unnatural maybe. He tried to make a greenhouse. So he could grow his potions better. That's the idea behind it. So it's actually a greenhouse on top as the dome. And below you have more and more flowers and more rare flowers. But the rest stays pretty much the same. So you see upgrading is not that expensive. You'll see some increase maybe in Azalea, etc. below as well. And the level 5, he's just going greenhouse ultra mode. And you'll also have the potted chorus trees. And he's also working with Skulk now. So you're going to need a lot of flowers for this building. But it looks pretty good. I think level 3 looks one of the best. Level 4 is more the functional upgrade. Now here you see the level 5 mine a bit better maybe. Looks pretty much like this. With large reinforced door. It's maybe the only build I did actually with fancy doors from Domum. I usually don't do that much, but if I can, then I can. What do we have here? We have here the Composter. Also a hallway segment. The Composter uses ferns and potted on level 2 already. And fixes the thing. So the first one is really decrepit. Maybe too decrepit, I would say. Because no, maybe you best place this on the end of a tunnel. Because often those are completely ruined. Because this is maybe too ruined variant for it. Now you see he started level 3 with the pot soul. A lot of pot soul. He starts to generate the dirt pretty much. He doesn't have much room, but he does what he can. And level 4, he has a lot of flowers as well. He's basically just composting stuff. He's trying, and he's now trying the large bushes because there's a lot of green on there and he can compost it even better. And the level 5 uses the nether stuff as well. I don't see any end stuff, so lucky for you. Composter is relatively cheap on that flank. That's the Composter. What do we have on this side? A lot of hallway buildings. And we start with 2 very decrepit hallways. One is the Fletcher. As you can see, it has the Fletcher table. And one is the Glassblower. Level 2 for the Glassblower. Uses some storage on top. Always try to keep one hallway clear. I do that everywhere. So people can always go through. Same here. They can always still use the hallway to its full capacity. Well, he adds some basic glass and some furnaces. I think 1 furnace per level. And this one is now trying to play around a little bit with ropes. Because he's a Fletcher, of course. Now, level 3 for fletching is quite a jump. A lot of trapdoors, a lot of wool, a lot of things. He's just weaving everywhere. It's quite a jump, actually. I hope a very large amount of domum. While the Glassblower is decorating the hallways with his glass, pretty much. So it's a bit different style. He's like, I can make all this beautiful glass, but you should definitely see him having more storage. He can also now use a little pulley to get things up. Something the Fletcher can only dream of. So they're pretty unique. And there's also different types of sand. And there's also tinted glass on the level 4 Glassblower. While the Fletcher is going all out with a large storage on top. Some decoration. Even more wool. Frame tool as well now. And the level 5 adds some obsidian as well. You don't have to register those. I think you can just make them for yourself because I don't use them in anything else, I think. While the level 5 Glassblower is really working on the scope integration in the glass. A lot of colors. There's no message behind this, I don't think so, but colored glass there as well. Now what do we have here? This is interesting. So there's a very large building and it looks like an icebox. If you've been in Ancient City, you probably find it. It's being used by 2 buildings and one of them, first of all, the reason they're so big is because these are very, very important buildings. And the most important of all is the Sifter. So the Sifter gets a huge building. And the Sifter is also a generation building. He can generate things from things. So he can sift resources and turn it into something else. So you see these grates, he's just sifting stuff. And it's being caught in barrels on level 1. Very crude, very rudimental. And then we go to level 2. And now he has already much more increased sifting tools. You also see this. You have to research each level before you can level, just to get it there. But you get one for free, do the item frames. You just need to pay the item frame, you get one for free. Then we have sand and gravel storage, stuff that he's sifting. And you see it's a bit more elaborate already, but he's still using water. The level 3 starts working with the iron meshes, and you already see that physically also happening. And below, you see he's starting to get a bit smarter. He's now working with hoppers. And it's really starting to generate a lot more. There's also some dirt now added. So he's definitely improving his skill set. Now the level 4 has a beautiful roof. Level 3 as well, by the way. And has sea lanterns. But you also see soul sand is now being sifted as well. And you'll see the diamond meshes there as well. But not on the floor. These are all iron meshes still, so it's not that bad. And he now uses dispensers, so you have much more room to walk. Dispensers on top of hoppers to get there. So he cleaned up his act a little bit. Each level he just gets better and better. So the level 5, now you do get the diamond meshes, of course, physically. And 1 skulk experimental mesh as well. And here you see no much change here, but he's working now with other tools like water. And it just, I don't think I think this is going to be a very cheap upgrade, by the way, to level 5. But you definitely see more decoration upstairs, also with hallways, etc. That's the Sifter, and his partner is the Mechanist. The mechanical, whatever, I call it the Mechanist for now. Mechanic, sorry. And the mechanic, of course, uses a lot of redstone. Now, you probably know this part. It's always there. Now, you'll see a lot of redstone contraptions. Not on level 1. He's just have the ladder. He just has the lever and not much else. And a little bit of redstone. He's just trying to experiment a little bit. Level 2, however, he just pulled a whole redstone around it. Uses torches and is really trying to do stuff with his redstone. And if you go downstairs, you'll see he is powering things downstairs already. So he's basically pulled his redstone to the lower floor. And level 3, he starts placing lights everywhere. So he's just connecting everything with lights. And he's trying to hide the redstone a little bit so you only see the lights. And inside you see a lot of experiments going on with lights being on and etc. Level 4, we have framed redstone, which I don't do anywhere else. So he's just going to be the only one who has it. And you see, wherever you go, you'll see his experiments. He's just playing around with things all the time. Downstairs is now even more polished, so he's trying to hide all the redstone and makes it as polished and beautiful as possible, as you can also see in the roof. And level 5 also has skulk integration and has more redstone crap, really. Of course, he is also now capturing his own echoes because he's making noise. And he's also trying the skulk sensors to see if it can work with that. And now you can see there's more experiments. The lamps are being lit by the skulk as well when you move around. So a lot of experiments. That is the mechanic. Sorry, not the mechanist. That's a whole different evil. Now we had the farm already. This horrible contraption, no, this is one of the prime things I've ever built in my life. This is the plantation. As you can see, you have 2 slots. A large field slot and a small field slot on level 1. There's an instruction manual as well, so don't worry. Place the crop bed directly on top of the marker surface. That's the whole plan about it. And here you have all the fields available to you. A large and a small variant, and they all fit on the slot. You can just drop it in there and basically replace this part. For example, if I take the kelp large, then your idea is to slot it in there. And it will leave all the blocks below, it will leave that alone. It's a bit up to you if you do it higher or lower, it doesn't matter. The whole thing about it, I would do it 1 lower, is that it never touches whatever is there in the next level. Also not when it sticks above, because that's already the border of the plantation. That means the next level, your little thing stays here, and you'll see there's just completely only placeholder blocks. So he's not going to touch it, he's going to leave it be, and you can just keep growing. And each level adds a few more slots. So this one adds a slot here. Level 2 adds 2 slots in the back, upstairs. And it just all placeholders on the other levels. That's why it looks like this. Level 4 actually adds no fields, so you have to be careful with that. And level 5 adds the last remaining field. So you'll have... No, you have 3 large and 3 small fields. That's basically the idea. And you can best place these as well on the side where the hallways are most decrepit, because you also have the most space next to it. Because this is not only a hallway, but it's also a little space behind it. It's a 9 by 13. Anyway, it works perfectly. So you have the fields, sugar, cactus, no idea what this one is, cacao, vines, kelp, seagrass, sea pickle, blueberries, and all the nether stuff. I think it's bamboo. It's just a bamboo field. And that is pretty much all the horticulture we have. Now let's take a look at animal husbandry. And animal husbandry, every building with animals has a straw roof. And we start with the cowherd. And as you can see, for the cowherd, every level adds a bit more to the size of the grass in front of it. Now inside, this is more like a barn for the cows. So it's not really much decoration inside. The cows are really meant for the field. Unlike the sheep. The sheep are of course very important because of the wool requirements. So they get spoiled a bit and they mainly stay inside. So each sheep gets a little spot inside, and you'll see the roofs are being quickly upgraded. On level 3 you already have a beautiful roof. And you just have a minimal outside area. So they can eat here, and there's on level 3. No, on level 2 already you should get grass. Because the corners are done. Because you need that for the wool to regenerate, of course. And then on level 3 you should have grass. Has a little smokery as well, but level 4 as well. So it really looks beautifully decorated with little towers as well. Pretty neat building, I must say. And they can do drinking here, of course. It's a nice building. Then we have the chicken farm. Also less area outside, but does have some area inside as well. Some basic grass here. They don't need grass itself, so there's just dirt with grass. And then level 3 still has dirt with grass, but the roofs are becoming more and more beautiful. And little arches are added here as well. So you definitely see an improvement in the building itself. And then level 4 really adds a lot of decorations to the side, as well as the grass block. If you want to make it easier for yourself with the grass, if you just have one grass block, before upgrading, already place the grass block so it can spread, and then everything is green by the time it needs to be upgraded, and then he just leaves it alone. And as you also can see, the chickens have a double layer because they tend to just flee whenever they can. And level 5 is really a chunky building with a double layer, a little outside area and an inside area. What else do we have? Let's first stay on the husbandry buildings. A little bit different building is for the pigs. They have more space to roam. And as you can see, you'll find many of these buildings, and it's actually the same as this wooden building, but you often have also versions that only have like the middle platform or no wool or just even the outside blocks. So you can use those for the pig farm, for example. The second level adds a bit to the building and a little bit of grass, a little bit place to feed them. And it definitely has an inside building, pretty decorated as well. As you can see, the level 4. So this is really a farmer's building that can actually live here. It can sit there and just sort his chests, and there's a table. It has a beautiful roof as well, with some pillars. Officially the entrance is here, by the way. Looks a bit more pretty. And then it gets a little smokery as well on level 4. Much more decoration inside. And you see he has a furnace and a smoker. So he definitely knows how to make his pigs and his bacon. And level 5 is heavily decorated again. It's maybe a bit too much because pigs are maybe the least important. You want the cows for the leather, you want the chicken for the eggs and the feathers, and pork just has the meat, but it's a bit different. It's more like a fenced area. So there's definitely a lot of difference between the buildings. Now let's go back a bit. What you see here is a fragment of the same pond as the warehouse had. And the reason I did this is because I had often runes with multiple warehouse runes. Now you could take one section, but you could also just build this separately, there's no problem, and turn this into a fisherman. First you just have a very simple water basin, and then you start adding frames of wood. So this is actually one of the first buildings that's more done how it's supposed to be done, with the wood level, and then slowly upgrade to the hay. It has much more decoration on level 3, and it has much more decoration on level 4 with wool. It's a bit swimming pool idea as well. So it's maybe a bit over decorated for a fisherman, but it definitely looks cool. So this is the fisherman, and lit up pool as well. So this really jumps forward in sense of style, and because it's animals again, you have the roof. Then a bit smaller building, and in my opinion a bit useless building, the rabbit's hutch. You first have a very basic. This is kind of funny because this rune you sometimes see, it's like just these stones, like 12 stones, and that's all. So I thought, well, let's give it a purpose, and now it's a rabbit's hut purpose. And the second level adds a lot of walls, and the third level adds some roof, as we are used to most of the blueprints. And you still are completely free to use the blocks that are there. So it's really a simple hut. I got a bit creative with the roof on level 4. So that was maybe not the best idea, but you have the grass and the roof looks pretty decent from the inside. So it's fully roofed. And level 5 is just, you know, a cozy little hut for letting the rabbits do what rabbits do, make more rabbits. So let's check the other etheric buildings. We have covered the Alchemist, and we have covered the hospital. So let's find the Enchanter, mystical site, and the graveyard. The Enchanter has also a very colored roof, by the way. A pink roof, because it was all about pink, and I was like, why not? Starts with a guard tower, basic guard tower section. And so it's not one of the larger towers, because I thought maybe 3 towers may be a bit far-fetched. You're not going to have much of a chance here. So it's just like a basic tower idea. It's a smaller tower for a hallway. I should just call it a hallway tower. And the second level, it's just mainly decoration and a lot of stripped oak wood. So be careful, by the way, between logs and wood. 4 logs make 3 wood. And wood is, of course, the variant of logs that don't have any like inner visibility. Level 3, it gets a bit of a pink magenta roof, but more importantly, it also gets a fully functional enchanting table with power 15, which is enough for the level 30s. And level 4 is basically just more decoration on its front, and level 5 is just more decorated. That's basically it. It's a pretty basic building. Then one of the larger buildings, you've probably seen this building a lot. You could have, initially I was like, shall I make this the ritual site? And then I was like, no, it's way too large for a ritual site. And then I was like, but it's perfect for a graveyard, because for a graveyard you will need room for 50 corpses on level 5. So this is a graveyard. It's a bit risky. I lost one already on these fires here, but it was a visitor, so I didn't care. But that's a bit of a risk. And the builder could step in there as well. So be very, very aware. You may, if you're here, just kill these fires. And on higher level, I never had problems. But initially, when they had to build level 1, they stepped into the fires for absolutely no reason. Like they didn't register it. So just a ruined version at first. You have room for, I think, 17. You don't see these unless there's someone died. And then you have the graveyard keeper the Undertaker, it goes for the corpse and also goes to the loot and brings it here, and then your couriers can pick it up or you can pick it up yourself. Level 2 adds more decoration, a bit more grave sites as well. Here you also have a few grave sites, and you see all the cracked stones are gone and all the front is also made a lot more beautiful. A little cross, maybe a bit too Christian themed, but it was also a Roman symbol, etc. So the level 3 adds more decorative style, but most importantly, the level 3 adds a whole new room inside. Here you can listen to a sermon or have just a little meeting, and that's absolutely beautiful for this building. And you also have some extra slots, of course, for things. You can just hang your clothes there, and here as well, a little garderobe, we say in Dutch. And level 4 is a golden cross and a lot more wool. These places you can sit, a lot more decoration, and also soul sand as the dirt variant instead of coarse dirt. Most of it was coarse dirt. Inside, absolutely decorated now with lapis, more spots, and also for the very rich elite, there's a separate room where a specific family can rest, and we have golden altar. So definitely an expensive build. The graveyard level 4. It's more of a decorative piece. It's not really a functional building per se. But of course the graveyard adds one massive thing. If someone dies, the better the graveyard, the more the research into it, the more chance he resurrects it. So it's really important. Now the skulk version got even an emerald. A lot more spots here added. And inside is not really changed per se, except for some skulk and of course an extra level. So inside is a lot bigger now. And we have the skulk fire beacons and everything. So it's a massive upgrade. That's the graveyard, one of the bigger buildings. And it's the only building I have for this functionality. So I hope you have a room with one. And also if you have 4 of these buildings, you may want to reconsider or just build over them something else. That was the Enchanter and the graveyard. Last one is, you probably saw it passing by already, this absolute horror. Simple echo chamber, starts with a ritual site. It just raises happiness, it doesn't do anything, so it's basically a decoration. Level 2 adds more decorative blocks. Level 3 adds some fire and some sitting areas. Level 4 is just completely made out of gold now and lapis because we can. And level 5 is completely over the top. That is absolutely abundance of gold and other garbage added to it. If you want to relax, just go sit here on your golden seats and pretend you're the richest thing ever. So it's a bit of a joke more because I could have made the building whatever I wanted. But so that's the etheric section all done. The best is yet to come, of course. You're already looking at the portal soon. And for that we're going to military. And first we have the academy. You'll often find large gatehouses here. The academy houses all your melee trainees and is thus ideal for example for the main gate towards your ancient city. The level 2 adds another pumpkin and adds more decoration. It also adds a bed each level, which is I believe a mandatory requirement. So it has little rooms where the trainees can sleep and some armor stands and other things, decorations. Now they can also get on the top floor, which is a higher hallway, and the level 3 adds another bed, of course, and another target practice dummy, and more decorations in the form of lanterns and such. And as you can see, also more seating areas. So definitely more decoration, but not expensive at all. Level 4 polishes most things. So you have a beautiful roof here. You have a beautiful floor here, and you have more polished seating areas. The top is still the way forward, so it's literally meant to be a hallway where people can walk over. So it's not the idea that you fill this one up. So I want to keep this road as clean as possible. This is already blocked now below because of the sleeping room. So now the level 5 is maybe a bit over the top, a lot of pains. There's a lot of combat training here. So there's a massive triple echo chamber on top, which captures all the sounds. I have no idea where the 5th... Oh, it's a little room next to the site. So a little room is added here where a 5th bed is placed. So you have an extra chamber here, but it also gives it a bit of an idea of a guardhouse. And this could be very well the entrance towards your city. So there's the academy. And then we have the archery training area. And each level will add another target, which is also the requirement. And you'll see it's a 9x18 beam, wooden beam things. There's many of these structures, often too many. So it's good. You can just place 2 residents on top of it, but you can also just place this one or the flower shop, etc. of course. Now, level 2 adds a triple beam, so it's going to be really a shooting range where they train their shooting. So that's the whole idea. And you better not live behind that if you have a house there. But it's basically the idea is to stand here and then shoot. Target practice. Level 4 adds more practice tools. And level 5, it's still basic, but it's some basic decoration, more lighting on the targets. Targets are now on the side as well, so it's a bit a different thing, so they're a bit harder to hit. So that's the archery range. And now, the moment you have been waiting for. I've been flying for 2 hours now, and I'm starting to get to the level 1. The barracks. The barracks is where the portal is. As you can see, there's place for the blocks here, so whatever is here, the portal comes up here, of course, and the building is not higher, so I don't have to do higher block tags, but you can go inside. And here you have the barracks. And the first one adds 2 rooms, basically the guard towers in the barracks where they can sleep. And here you also get your first druids, of course. We got the door. I think there's a button. Yeah. Of course it works. You think I wouldn't fix it? It didn't work in the ruined version, by the way. And as you can see, it's only this high, so I don't have to put more on top of it. It will leave just that what it is, and this is the level 1 barracks. So you have to build it on the right spot because you can't afford this otherwise. It will take a while to build it, but it's definitely doable. Then we have the level 2, which often it adds a lot of decoration. It fixes all the cracked bricks and it adds a lot of lanterns. So it's going to be very expensive on lanterns. The floors are pretty as well now, and you'll see more seating areas here. There's also 1 extra barracks here, and as you can see, for example, here is a little storage area added as well. Now, whoever is stationed inside will patrol these walls and will be just defending. As you can see, the level 3 has definitely much more decorative blocks used. We have a little area here where people can sit. We have a little seating area where you can go to the portal, of course, and even a couch there. And I think, as far as I know, yeah, there's also side entrances in the inner layer at least. Let's see if there's something changed inside. This is polished. There's nothing yet, but it will be more and more beautiful. Of course, there will be a new guard tower there, a 4th one. And you can see there's now also these towers in the back. These are new. Now, things like the gates are also completely polished and completely made beautiful. And also, and there was a funny thing ever, they are now not offset anymore. You won't believe it, but the original, this gate is offset compared to the other side. And it was really annoying because it didn't fit anything because of it. But now they're even. Level 4 adds a lot of lapis and some banners. Just makes everything more beautiful overall. You can definitely see the change in the walls. Normally just wool, now reinforced wool on all the right places. So that makes it look much more robust than just the plain wool, which made no sense in the first place. Inside also, much more decoration. Beautiful floors now. We have a target practice range here. Something that was original in there. We have a beautiful storage area for armor. And we have a kitchen now. So definitely a massive upgrade on level 4. It's going to be expensive, the level 4, I think. Much more lighting as well. Now level 5 adds a lot of skulk. They just did the veins to reinforce the walls, just to make sure it was meshy and it could regenerate itself very fast. You have a lot of lapis decorations and some iron decorations as well. There's some extra seating areas, but I don't think that's changing too much inside. There's definitely a lectern there, so there's going to be lore as well. It's light here. I think the lighting is definitely upgraded. Oh yeah, look at here. This is now light instead of just blue lapis. Oh, this is a new guard tower, except also on level 5. So There's definitely a lot changing. There's more lectern there. And it's absolutely a beautiful building. Obviously, there's more lanterns as well. So this is the guard barracks. The barracks are essential building and you have to build it somewhere. And it's going to cost you some time. But the level 1 built on the same spot should be doable. Should be doable. But it's a huge building, of course. Because in the ancient city, the building is also so ridiculously huge. I could have made this the town hall, but it didn't make any sense to have it as a town hall. It would just be such a waste of space. And I didn't have anything else for the barracks anyway. So this is much more logical for the barracks because also of the armored walls everywhere. And the town hall is just always such a dysfunctional building. So what did we miss? The carpentry. Did we see everything? I see the Fletcher, the forester. Where is the sawmill? Here is the sawmill. Also just a nice simple hallway building. It just mainly has a lot of wood. It's very basic actually. It has more and more decorated wood though. Every level it adds a lot of storage on top. So it's definitely, this building will block your view. So you have to be careful with that. You can still get through it. Yeah, it's still possible, but it definitely uses a lot of space. The top is blocked. So you may want to put this in an off ramp. Now here you see a lot of extra wooden things. He's just a crafter of wooden things. So that's what you see in the building as well. There you go. So that's the sawmill. So we had all the carpentry buildings. The culinary, we haven't seen those at all. So I have a new category. Others don't use it. It's called culinary. And everything that cooks is there. Because someone who's culinary is also a crafter. He's crafting beautiful meals, beautiful food. In my opinion. Every wool building you'll find, and you'll find plenty in ancient cities, will be culinary. Except for the pig farm that can also use that base, basically. But only the base. The first level is just basically the wool variant. There's a little bakery here. I think this is the bakery. Quite sure this is the bakery. Is this the bakery? It's the bakery. This is the bakery. And the second level already adds a lot of decoration. You can go to the roof already. Inside it looks much more polished. And it still has one oven, but it has more tables for baking, etc. outside as well. This is where you make it's a little millstone. That's what it is. Yes, a little millstone. Why? Because this version of the bakery has a mill attached to it. I'm Dutch, so I have to add a mill. I'm sorry. Now you may not have seen it, but there's a bakery and a bakery mill. So this is the mill variant. If you don't want to build the mill, sure. If you want to hate on mills, then you can just build the flat bakery. Now the second one adds a second oven. Storage on the top, you already saw probably. And the mill stone, of course, with the hopper, etc. So it needs to be a semi-functional mill, right? Else it doesn't work. Because it can make dough. The level 4 adds a third furnace, more storage on top, a more reinforced mill, definitely bigger blades, and also more beautiful. It basically makes everything more beautiful. And the level 5 adds skulk mainly. And probably a lot more ovens. Yeah, a lot more ovens. It's like a whole chamber of ovens. Inside doesn't change too much per level because that's already maxed decorated. So it's just the outside that changes. And the mill. Now then there's also the variant without the mill. And it should be this one. This is the level 2. It has a bit of a smokery inside. This is the level 3, and you see it's now a massive chimney rather than a mill. There we go. To hold the fire, of course, that's somehow inside. And this is the level 4, it's much more stone. And you also see the storage again on the top. And we have 3. So the rest is pretty much the same. And this is the maxed variant, which is just heavily decorated bakery. Looks pretty good. And then we have the cookery, which is of course a bit different. It's like the kitchen. But it uses the same principle. The level 2 is almost identical to the level 2 non-mill bakery. But the level 3 definitely changes a lot in how it works. It looks much more sleeked and also much more reinforced. There's no furnaces outside, but there is some decoration, etc. There's furnaces inside. And some smokery, etc. The level 4 adds some cake and more decoration. You also see the polished deep slate with the wool. And you also have something to read, and you can sit there as well. Oh yeah, the storage here is outside, which is a massive difference, of course. And I also have a sign, which I usually don't use at all. Then we have the level 5, which has a small storage, barely used upstairs. Has multiple chimneys going up. And has, well, pretty basic inside again. There's also Skulk here. And the reason is they started to see if Skulk was edible, which obviously it was not, but they tried anyway. So there's going to be some Skulk experiments, and probably that book is going to explain what the hell they did. So that's the culinary section. You see, it's very vibrant, but they are there in the ruins as well. So why shouldn't it be vibrant, right? So, are we done? Of course we're not done. Luxury is the concrete mixer, the dyer, and the glassblower. The glassblower we did. There's 2 we did not do. Both are very... Luxury is also really luxury. You know, they are shiny, they're colorful, they're posh even in how they build their building and how they showcase their work. So first we have, of course, the concrete. So to make concrete they need flowing water. I still have to test this part, but I'm assuming this works. And you see it has flowing water, 3 streams, and it just gets his concrete. You have some white concrete and it uses it to make concrete. So the building is pretty basic, also on design. The roof is going to be of concrete because it's a concrete mixer. And level 3 really starts to spruce up his own building. It has some basic storage to the side, but it's basically still just working with his concrete. The level 4 adds a splash of color, a bit too much color, but like I said, it's a luxury building and he is posh as hell with different kind of colors. So he's basically just trying out what he can do with colors. And the level 5 is, well, ridiculously decorated and very colorful. And you'll see he's just matching colors of concrete with existing minerals at this point. So this is an incredibly luxury building and therefore it's also very shiny. And the same counts, of course, for the dyer. So what you see here is you see all these wools are drying because they are just freshly dyed. That's the whole idea behind it. And it already on level 1 adds a splash of color. And also some trees. And here you see longer wool drapes just being dyed and just resting outside. And inside you also see some storage of dyed wool as well. The level 4 adds glazed terracotta, which is meant to give it a massive splash of color, of course, and also showcase that it's dyeing terracotta right now. More storage upstairs. It's a very colorful building as well, so you might want to make this a separate district from the rest, maybe. And terracotta up there on level 5 as well. So they're both really colorful, pretty beautiful, pretty unique. And they're meant for luxury, because they're luxury buildings. That's the whole idea behind it. Talking about terracotta. What is this? We have the stone smeltery. The stone smeltery can turn clay into terracotta, stuff like that. It just smelts stone and that's obvious. It uses as it's the only one, the small pillar as furnace, chimney. And it definitely uses special decorated blocks meant for stone. And you also see some basalt and other bricks that are specifically for him there. And you see a storage for terracotta on the 2nd level. So the last one is more storage, special blocks, even smooth stone. And basically just a bigger version of the same with a lot of colorful blocks. Then we have one more hallway building, and that's the crusher. It uses this special unique design, which we saw earlier as well. We still built the hospital on top of it, which wasn't supposed to go there. The crusher is pretty basic. It has some storage in the middle, and we'll use one side for, well, physical storage. And also on this side, it uses a lot of physical storage. It crushes blocks into finer materials So basically that's what it's doing. It has a grindstone here as well on level 3 and a sitting area. And on level 4, it really starts to be in operation. As you can see, several pulley systems and everything. It's just even bone blocks. It's just really pushing its limits. And even more pulley on level 5, which is decorated with a very basic scope, by the way, just a few pillars. And other than that, it just keeps being functional as a crusher. On the craftsmanship, we have one more, metallurgy, where the blacksmith and the mechanic we covered. There's one more left, and that's the 5th pillar you can use, being the smeltery. One of the buildings you want to build early as well. Use this large pillar, so can be also made in the tunnel section. Well, you see some coal, you see some furnaces, 2 furnaces per level. So level 2 has 2 furnaces and more coal storage. Then on level 3, it really adds the extra storage with some ores, so you're gonna need silk touch for that. And adds more blast furnaces. At level 4, it gets an extra storage on the 2nd floor with, of course, a ladder towards it. And the level 5 version is highly decorated and has a much more powerful build. And also the max amount of smelters for this. So that's the smelter. Big chimney. I think this is the whole pack. I hope you liked it. I have this pack in a mod, first of all. So you can just add the mod to your own MineColonies server and it will be added whenever someone wants to build in the ancient city. It will be there. It will show under ancient city, whereas others will have like style colonies. It will be, so here you have Byzantine, and then my pack will be ancient city and then project resonance. Now the mod pack I'm making accompanying it will have more and more ancient city related projects. I'm not going to touch mods that actually alter the ancient city because that will ruin completely where my blueprints need to be. But I will add mods that add more danger to the ancient city because, for example, the ancient city, you can't spawn mobs there unless you make a spawner above it, then they drop down. But other than that, it's a bit tricky. And I would add more and more danger mods per se, but keep the mod pack very basic and very light otherwise. So that's the whole idea behind it. So that's the mod pack, but for now I would just test it with the mod. There's one thing I want to do very soon. Town Hall level 1 is a bit too hard to make at this point. And that is not because of the amount of blocks I need, it's what I took away from the pillars. So this is a normal pillar. This is how you see them. And not this one, but this one. And what I did for the Town Hall level 1, I stripped it too much. Which means the builder has to remove everything if there's a pillar and then put it back later. So that's really ugly and takes a long time. It also needs to dig out a lot, but I can already add some fixes there. So it's a lot of work, the Town Hall level 1, mainly because it takes away so much of the blocks that used to be there. For example, the most simple one, this, I made deep slate tiles, and you must know I made this building as one of the first ones, and this should have just stayed wool, so it doesn't have to replace the wool, and then later on level 3 or 4 put it back. But that's fine. You know, it's the level 1 is a lot of work, but then the level 2 and the 3, they go pretty fast actually, because they don't have to dig a lot. The digging takes a lot of time, so just help with the digging yourself or place it on a flat area and then it's done in no time. So that's basically my recommendation. I hope you liked it, this mod pack. I'm currently polishing it all the time, so there's going to be better versions, but this is definitely playable. I've been playing my 2nd playthrough now, one in Ancient Kingdom and one in a clean own mod pack, of course. And so far I haven't encountered any bugs that would completely tear me up that I already released it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. A bit of a long video, but it's a lot of buildings. And of course I'm running the playthrough now and I'm posting episodes about that. So there you'll see me play it myself, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow me for more updates. Thank you for watching.